The following program was made for viewers like you, not those other mooks. They're a bunch of commie-loving, pimple-headed, Birkenstock-wearing zaraza. But not you. You're beautiful and special. So hit the like and subscribe buttons in ways that display your greatness and well-cultured tastes. The following program is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. I'm doing things a little backwards tonight. I know it's a little backwards. Normally, I'll save the humor for the end or try to like shove some of it over to locals. We're trying something new. You always got to branch out, explore different ways of going with things. So tonight, the following program is really focusing on the lighter side of things. That's definitely what tonight is. And then afterwards, I'm going to have on locals. I'm going to have an after show, which I'll have some lighter things in there as well. But the primary focus there is I'm going to be breaking down the P-Diddy indictment in ways like a law student would. And I think it's a crazy indictment. It's very colorful, and I did a lot of coloring. Of this indictment, and I want to help you think like an attorney, so that this way, when you see something, you're able to identify and interpret things when you're reading something, so you have a better comprehension of it. So that's part of what I'm gonna be doing during the locals after show. goodlogic.locals.com. The link to that after show party is in the description down below. It's pinned to the chat. That applies whether you're on YouTube. That applies whether you're on Rumble. In either one of those jurisdictions, you should be able to have one click of a button and just bam, be there. Because I serve it up on a platter for you. I can take you to the trough. I can't shove your head in there like some high school bully and force you to drink. I can't. I'm leading you to the trough. I can't. That's not the right imagery you're supposed to be giving people when you're trying to pitch them into coming. That was probably bad imagery. Bad imagery. Before we get into anything here, I need to get something off my chest. There's one thing I need to get off my chest. People, it's important that we should be sensitive. And maybe they don't mean to be. Maybe it's not their intention. Maybe it's probably well-meaning. It's probably well-meaning. I understand that. I can appreciate that it's well-meaning. But I'm a little bothered. And what I'm bothered by is there's certain folks out there who are unintentionally, unwittingly, probably well-meaning, but somewhat racist. And I think I want to address this, so that if you see that there's some that you are exhibiting, perhaps obviously unintentionally, but exhibiting some signs of racial insensitivity, that perhaps there's a little course correction that you should consider. I'm not judging. I don't judge you, right? I'm not judging you. I'm throwing something out. I'm just throwing it. I'm just throwing it. You could do with it what you want. I'm just throwing it at you. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm talking, of course, about stuff like this. From the liver to the knee, the beeper saying from the liver to the knee. And the other example I want to share with you was this right here. beeper saying your virgins are ready. Now, I can appreciate that there's certain humor there. I can appreciate that. Well, I don't think you might be realizing is like when you share something like this with me, it's pretty racist. It's pretty racist. And the way it's racist, obviously, is that you're making assumptions about a whole group of people, crazy assumptions about a whole group of people. And obviously, specifically in this example, the assumptions you're making are that I'm Jewish and therefore I have a sense of humor. That is a stereotype. It is very, very wrong to assume that just because Joe's, he's all Hebe up on me, that he's got some kind of sense of humor. When you stereotype people and throw them into a category, all of a sudden you're trivializing their individuality. So when you're sending me these crazy, hilarious beeper things, it's pretty much you're saying I'm making all these assumptions about Joe that because he's Jewish, he's funny or he has some sort of sense of humor, and it's wrong. It's wrong. So I'm asking you, please, course correct, look into yourself and say, you know what? I'm making all sorts of terrible assumptions about Jews that they have a sense of humor. When I send something like this to someone because he's Jewish, it's very, very wrong. Look into your heart. Look into your heart and recognize that you're making prejudgments. And those prejudgments, the root of prejudgment is prejudice. It's prejudice. You're very, very prejudiced. So I'm just saying. My God, that was genius. That was funny. That was funny enough that I shared it with Lady Lawgic. She rolled her eyes and walked away laughing. That's what she did. She rolled away her eyes and walked away laughing. Sorry! Yeah, she rolled her eyes and walked away laughing. Anyway, that was funny. From the liver to the knee. Good times. Good times. I'm going to tell you one guy who does not have a sense of humor. One guy who does not have a sense of humor, we talked about a couple nights ago here, is a guy by the name of Gavin Newsom. As we covered in that stream, I was talking about how he passed a law that basically said, stop being so damn funny in ways that make us look terrible. Stop being so damn funny. And if you want to get picked on, all you have to do is basically saying, stop picking on me. It really bothers me. And that's what Gavin Newsom did. He basically said, stop picking on me. I don't like it. It's not funny. It's not funny. And now he's basically the center of attention if you want to make a meme, because what was his law that he passed there? He's like, you can't share AI, digitally altered AI on social media here in California. That's the law. You can't do that anymore. And oh my God, what's been coming out is kind of abusive, because obviously he just basically, it's like, how stupid can you be? You just tattoo like a big bullseye on your forehead. A big freaking bullseye on Gavin Newsom's forehead. Unbelievable.
Good evening, California. I come to you tonight to impart a few words of wisdom upon you. First, not all pee-pee times are poo-poo times, but all poo-poo times are pee-pee times. Second, anything can be a dildo if you try hard enough. And lastly, the poop map is real and it's spectacular. Good evening, California. I come to you tonight to impart a few words of wisdom upon you. First,
oh my
not
God,
all pee-pee times are poo-poo times.
I'm a little worried that maybe he's talking fast or that the volume wasn't up enough. Let me help you out with the volume there so you can appreciate. Because California and San Francisco has poop maps where people can identify where there's poop for city agents to come and pick it up. That's how bad, that's how terrible, how disastrous California has become. And oh my God.
Good evening, California. I come to you tonight to impart a few words of wisdom upon you. First, not all pee-pee times are poo-poo times, but all poo-poo times are pee-pee times. Second, anything can be a...
That's very deep. That's pretty deep if you think about it. It's not all PP times are poo poo times, but all poo poo times are PP times. I think it's probably true. It's got to be true, right? That's got to be true.
Dildo if you try hard enough. And lastly, the poop map is real and it's spectacular.
The poop map is real and it's spectacular. So I'm suspecting that might be digitally altered. I'm not sure. My gut says that. And not to be outdone. Hold on. Good evening, DS. Good to see you. Good to see you. Not to be outdone. The Babylon Bee. This was basically the Babylon Bee saying F you. Because what he specifically said was, if you say it's parody, that's okay. In the law that we broke down here, which I recognize chances seem very high that it will withstand scrutiny, sadly enough. The Babylon, he says, because they took steps to try and basically legalize draining humor from American society. So we can all, it's almost like he's like, look, you're going to be working drones for the Queen Hive here with all in our communist society. You should lose your sense. You should start getting used to having zero sense of humor. And part of that is if there's something that's humor, you have to slap across it. Parody, satire, humor. Otherwise, it's illegal. So what does the Babylon Bee do? Well, here they come.
Hi, I'm Gavin.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. This is a message for the people of America, given in my authentically recorded, non-AI voice. Thanks to my leadership over the last several years, California has become a world leader in extremist left-wing governance. My policies were so effective that almost 1 million people are now fleeing the state every year. We even ran out of U-Hauls. During the COVID pandemic.
It's really true. They did run out of U-Hauls. California ran out. You can't find a U-Haul in California because they're all traveling from this state away from California.
I locked everyone in their homes and shut down businesses for months. Not the French Laundry, though. That's my favorite restaurant. Last year, I cleaned up the dangerous, messy streets of San Francisco, because Chinese Communist President Xi was coming, and I really wanted to impress him. He's my boss, after all. This year, I signed legislation that allows me to take custody of your kid if you refuse to give him artificial hormones and chop off his genitals.
It's so sick. It's such a sick state. They're so sick.
Because if you don't do that, you're a bigot, and bigots shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I've also led the way in green energy by banning all cars that don't run on electricity. Then I banned almost all the electricity. This is smart leadership. On my watch, the cost of living and homelessness have skyrocketed. Schools are failing. Drug dealers and human traffickers are pouring across the border. And poop has covered the sidewalks of San Francisco. This is the positive, joyful vision we offer as Democrats. That's why I'm enthusiastically endorsing Kamala Harris for president in 2024. She'll do to the country everything I did in California. Anyway, I'm California Governor Gavin Newsom, and I approve this 100% real message, which is a recording of my voice without the assistance of any AI whatsoever. This isn't.
Without the assistance of AI whatsoever. There's no AI. Why would you even think there's AI here? Why would anyone think that?
Of any AI whatsoever. This isn't a deep fake, and you can rest assured that it isn't, because I just signed an unconstitutional law outlawing deep fakes. No one would dare violate it. Thank you, and science bless America.
I missed that the first time in Science Bless America. That's a nice little added at the end there that I missed on my first watch. Science Bless America. So yeah, things are. That's real. That's real because Gavin Newsom said it's not a deep fake. So Gavin Newsom said it isn't a deep fake. He would know a deepfake. He's the expert in deepfakes. And now Gavin Newsom said it's not a deepfake, and that it's not AI. So now I know it's real. So there you go. Sounds legit to me. Oh my God. He just literally put a bullseye on his face. Which frankly would be a perfect tattoo for him. Not that, and by the way, all kidding aside, I'm not endorsing physically harming Gavin Newsom, but punching him over and over again with humor as to like how stupid and disastrous he is for America is only beneficial to the entire country. Let's go, Brandon says, as soon as you stopped yelling the other night, I fell asleep within 5 minutes. 10 out of 10 recommended for insomnia. Just tell Joe to talk less and enjoy. There you go. Truth is, I never fall asleep while I'm talking. So I can't really even argue with anything you just said. LLO. Thank you, brother. We covered this in my appellant advocacy class. Professor Lawton, a true patriot. Cool. Appellant advocacy class. LLO. Can you take a look at Australia's new misinformation and disinformation bill? Oh, gods. Oh, gods. Don't you like me? Why? Why are you trying to make me work? I don't understand. Did I do something to you? Did I do something to you? Looking at a whole freaking bill from another country where we know that there are a bunch of freaking communists who are happy to lock their own citizens away. As soon as any kind of scare goes on, they're willing to lock their citizens away and shut them in their homes. That I need to look at the fact that their free speech is a joke compared to ours. I'm sure it is. I don't want to. I really don't want to. I don't care. Here are a list of the countries where I don't care about their laws. Australia, Canada, England, France, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Poland, Denmark, Italy, Russia, China, New Guinea, Newfoundland, New Zealand, Middle Earth, Uruguay. That's the top of the list right there of countries where I don't care. Egypt, Israel, Lebanon, Syria, South America, South Africa, Antarctica. See, there's a lot of these countries where I really don't care what their laws are. They are their laws, and let them do whatever they. It's a pretty long list. There's a few more up there. You know, I just don't care. Vancouver, the Yukon, Siam, Bolivia, Uganda, Japan, North Korea, South Korea, Taiwan, any country that ends with Stan. There's really I don't care. I really don't care what their laws are. Oh, God. Yeah. So, yeah, those requests unlikely to catch my appeal. The only way it would catch my appeal is if I thought they were funny. If I thought they were funny, maybe I would. See, I'm totally fine with someone who's a Kamala Harris fan coming in. I'm really I'm totally fine with someone. I'm really okay with it. What I'm really not okay with is some child who has to spam. That I'm not really okay with. By the time I don't know who's in the chat here as the mod, but by the time I got in here, it was gone. So that's good work, either by them or by YouTube. Someone did something good really fast. Maybe YouTube took it out. But it was one of the most, if you missed it because you're on Rumble, it was one of the most intelligent arguments for Kamala Harris campaign that you'll hear from the left, which was basically shrieking Kamala Harris 2024, Kamala Harris 2024, over and over again. So yeah, it's really blocked. It doesn't even show up. I don't even. Let me maybe am I not in? I'm only in top chat. I'm not in live chat. That's the problem. There you go. That was the problem. All right. There are a lot of non-lawyers making videos interpreting right now, and not a lot of legal experts reading it and making suggestions of what to do. Okay. I'm not an attorney. Check out this. Check out Aiden. Check him out. I'm sure he's on it. I haven't seen him in a while, to be honest with you. Like a really long time. What happened to Aiden? Does anyone know what happened to him? Is he okay? Is Hayden okay? That's what I was doing. Yeah, OC Overlord. Ozzy Overlord. You still streaming? Hey, Worcestershire, you're here. Good to see you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I know what to tell you. I got a few other funny things I wanted to share with you. I'm supposed to be doing the locals in half an hour. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to continue streaming the evidentiary hearing of the merchant law firm versus Fulton County District Attorney and Fannie Willis, where they're trying to obtain records under the Open Records Act. So I do plan on covering that tomorrow morning, which resumes at 10 a.m. But before that happens, I'm going to be doing a locals after show where I'm going to be covering the P-Diddy indictment. Very colorful indictment. If you're wondering how colorful, this is how colorful. Look at how colorful this thing is. And don't worry, every color here has a basis as to like why I chose that color for this paragraph. I'm going to walk you through it. So when you'll understand how to break down something and understand papers when you read them in more quickly digestible ways. Quickly digestible. But I'll teach you how to do it to mark something up. Let's be part of what we're doing there. But really, it's a crazy indictment. It's crazy. I thought about going through the Tim Pool complaint. I wasn't really very excited by it. I wasn't very excited by it, but yeah. Anyway, but I'm going to be on locals after in like a half hour. I'm making a very short show tonight. Very short show. All right. Which means I got to get into the Scamala thing. Right? I got to do that. Before I do it, I do want to share one more thing with you here. A big story that's been going on for the last couple of days that I haven't had a chance to cover is that the Teamsters unions refused to endorse Kamala Harris when they conducted a poll what was the poll numbers? It was something like 58 or 59.6% of the Teamsters union, of their 1.2 million members, 59.6% to something like 30%, 37% or something, favor Trump over Kamala. This is an incredible thing, because before Kamala was swapped in for Biden, Biden was holding an 8-point lead over Trump in their head-to-head matchup. 8-point lead over Trump. And now he's got like a 23-point lead. You have over 30, like a 35-point switch here. And it's impossible to believe that this is not reflective. There's nothing unique about the Teamsters compared to anyone else in America. This is how vastly unpopular Kamala is, or Scamala is, compared to Joe Biden. It's an astonishing number. And I think that her numbers are only going down more and more. I've been watching, even Dana Bash was like, you can't keep saying, you can't answer every question with like, well, I'm the child of middle income parents. No one cares. Nobody cares about this stuff. You're terrible. You're terrible. She's so bad at this. You can understand why they try keeping her away from interviews as long as possible. And that's because she's an incompetent boob. She's really bad at this. And the longer she's held out there under public scrutiny, the uglier and uglier she looks. And I'm obviously not referring to her physical appearance. I'm just saying, as an intelligent individual, as someone who has any sort of plans or any sort of policies, as someone who carries herself well, there's no area where she doesn't look like a DEI hire when you listen to her for more than 10 minutes. Because she just has her empty rhetoric about how we can make America a more wholesome place where we're not fighting against you. What are you, like, just empty words after empty words? I mean, she doesn't even try to give any sort of policies. What little policies she references, she doesn't explain how the hell they would operate, how they would be paid for, or how they would actually work to address the problems that the challenges that are facing America today. And you don't have to be like some deep thought person to identify her shortcomings as far as being a leader with any sort of direction at all. So what does she have? She has, well, I'm not Trump and I'm younger than Biden. That's what she had. I'm not Trump. When asked how she would differentiate herself from and explain to a Donald Trump voter why they should vote for her, she's like, I'm not about, we should move forward. That's why. That's not an answer. It's not anything. And even the media is starting to turn on her, which is, it makes me question whether they're so desperate, they're so freaked out about this, that perhaps this is why he's facing these assassination attempts. I saw this video on Rumble, which I was thinking about coming with you last night. Last night I didn't stream, and when I didn't stream, I had a family affair, and I had to drive. I have to drive for 2 hours to get back, and I was actually picking up my car from a different location. So my wife was driving me for like an hour, and I was like, I really don't know what the hell I'm going to cover. It's now 8, 9 o'clock or so. I don't know what I'm going to cover. And then I saw this video, which was basically entitled, "The Deep State Knows They Can't Win. That's Why They're Trying to Kill Donald." And I was like, oh, this seems like really interesting. And it was this guy who came out and saying that his polling shows that he has some sort of program called Socrates. Maybe you guys heard of this guy. I don't know. But he's the inventor of this program, Socrates, which he claims is uniquely special at identifying polling trends and things of that nature. And says that, and it claims that Kamala's disapproval rating is not the 60% that people say, or 70%. It's 90%. Then 9 out of 10 people, if you do actual polling, disapprove Kamala Harris. 90%. And then he said, here's another model which shows it's 92%. It's somewhere between 90 and 90, but somewhere between 8.5 and 10% of the population does not disapprove of her. So, and he's like, so, and the deep state sees this and they know this, and that's why they're terrified that they can't win. And that's essentially what the overarching theme of that video was about. It was a 50-minute video, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll just watch this with my audience, and we'll assess what they're saying together. So I told Lawgic, this is what I plan on doing. Well, on my way back home, which I had to drive an hour after I picked up my car. So on my way back home, I was listening to that video, and I was like, this sounds kooky. Just listening to this guy, he sounds close to being QAnon. I was just like, I don't trust him completely. It just sounds like so deep in the tang. I was like, I don't know that I believe what he's saying. I don't really trust his analysis. I can find holes in his analysis. I don't want to put something up here for you guys that I myself don't trust. And, if it's especially if it's something favoring a candidate that I like, because I think that's shameless. It's shameless and shameful. It's both, which is an interesting thing that word could be changed that way. But it's both shameless and shameful to do something like that. So I was like, I'm not showing this to 10,000 people. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it because it's bad faith. And that's why I ended up not streaming yesterday. But I will say this. The numbers are indicating Kamala Harris did not win the debate because she got no lift from it at all. And everyone who was like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling because Trump looked like he was angry or something like that. The numbers are only getting better and better for him. If you follow Red Eagle, who's someone I do actually follow and enjoy, he actually put out a video tonight which was pointing out that in all the battleground states, he's actually making ground on her, where they're showing them neck and neck within a point or two. And that by the worst of polls, and some of them showing him leading in states like Pennsylvania, and states like Georgia, and states like Wisconsin. So, key battleground states that basically people expect to make or break this election. I'm telling you now, my personal opinion is I want to see dominance. I want to see every battleground state, all 6 of those states that we saw, I want to see all 6 of them flip. And I think we will, with the one exception being Michigan, because I think Michigan is so corrupt that there's zero chance a Republican that if a Democrat were to get 15% of the vote, I think Gretchen Whitmer would steal it. That's how bad I think the corruption is in Michigan. I think it's so bad that if Kamala gets 15% of the vote, they'll give it to her. That's how terrible they are in Michigan. Okay, I have no confidence in Michigan whatsoever. I think it's worse than California, worse than New York, worse than Pennsylvania, worse than Georgia. It is absolutely the worst state in the country for corruption. That's how Gretchen Whitmer has impressed me with all the laws she's been passing there. And that's why, but the other 5 battleground states and other states that were not battlegrounds, I'm anticipating he's going to win. I'm talking states like New Jersey. I'm expecting Trump is going to, I'm telling you now, I'm calling it now. Trump is winning New Jersey. I'm calling it now. Trump is winning New Jersey. That's right. My state of New Jersey. Trump. I'm telling you now, this is going to be a bloodbath, and it must be. It should be. Because I'll tell you something, him getting 270 electoral votes is not enough. I don't want to see 271. I don't want to see that. I want the Democrats to be shamed. I want them to be humiliated. I want them to recognize everything wrong with their strategy and the way they conducted themselves for the last 7-8 years. That's what I want them to see. I want them to be humiliated. From the lawfare to the cancel culture to the ridiculous ways they try reinventing the Constitution to their completely undemocratic premises for who should be on the ballot for the Republicans, who should be on the ballot for the Democrats, and their complete flat out lie after lie after lie about trying to build a healthier America. I want them to be humiliated. And I think they will be. Very, very hopeful. I'm very, very hopeful about that. Joe, did you get a chance to watch Crowder's investigation video that he put out today? Yeah, I did. I did. I saw 2 minutes of it. It's probably a longer video than that, but I saw that. I was actually thinking about watching that. Worried Diddy situation is Democrats' last effort to stop Trump. How would Diddy affect Trump? I don't see how Diddy would affect Trump at all. I don't understand that. Due to public status, Diddy got extra sheets for comfort. Cameras will be off given his stature, privacy. Nothing to do with anything filmed at his homes. Nothing about Diddy is going to come out before the election. Nothing serious. This trial's not starting for a year. So it's not going to have any impact on Trump. I do think that he is in jeopardy of being harmed. I think he's or he should be on suicide watch, because I don't see how he's ever walking out of that prison again. I can't even imagine, as we'll see in the indictment that we're going through. I cannot fathom that he's going to escape multiple life sentences in this case. He's really in trouble. He's in deep, deep, deep trouble with just a mountain of evidence as to what. And by the way, if even 10% of the allegations in the indictment are true, this Manovel is a chaya ra. He's a menace to society. Okay, this disgusting degenerate is a wild animal who should be locked away. If even 10% is true, I don't know. I wasn't there. I haven't seen the evidence yet, but so many allegations from so many people with purportedly so much evidence. Wow. Friggin' animal. So yeah, but we'll go through that complaint shortly. Let me share with you the Crowder thing that was just referenced here. This is only a 2-minute video, but I think it gets to the nuts and bolts of it. As to the corruption of the Democrats, how terrible they are. Dr. J. Varma, former senior advisor for public health, New York City Mayor's Office, 2020-2021. Yeah, during the lockdown period. Dr. J. Varma.
He actually was.
Why is it too bad?
The one who I actually was the one who convinced the mayor to make it a mandate.
Like New York City found out that you were having sex parties during COVID?
Yeah, it would have been real bad. We went to some underground dance party underneath the bank in Wall Street. And we were all rolling, we were all taking Molly, and everybody's high. And I was so happy because I hadn't done that in a year and a half, a year or whatever. And but I was looking around being I wonder if he sees it because this was not COVID friendly. The only way I could do this job for the city was if I had some way to blow off steam every now and then. You guys teach you that because hotels didn't want.
Look, look. The only way he could do the job is if he had some way to blow up. He had to be able to blow up steam. That's the only way he could do his job, is if he had some way to blow up steam. Scum.
Because that was running the entire grocery shop in the city. My wife and I had one with our friends in August of that first summer. So
August of 2020. Unbelievable.
We rented a hotel and it was fun. We all took Molly, and it was it was 8 or 9 of us, and 10 of us in a room, and everybody had a blast because everybody was so pent up because it had been everybody was just stuck together and stuff like that. Yeah. And sometimes it isn't so much about some it's just something about bodies being close to each other, just being naked with friends.
Was that when everything was locked down?
It was the summer of 2020. So walk around the streets and eat outdoors.
Did you have any mandates?
There wasn't any restrictions on gathering. You could actually gather people. The hotels didn't want to start parties, but they weren't gonna like.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like this because I did all this like deviant, like sexual stuff, and all that was like, you know, like on TV and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And people were like, aren't you afraid? Aren't you embarrassed? And I was like, no, actually, I'm like really like I love being my authentic self. So the way we do it in public,
And that's such a healthy outlook. I hope he's pleased that this is going public, because now he can be his authentic self in front of millions of people. And that's what it's so important for everyone to be able to be their authentic self. And I'm glad that Dr. J. Varma has an opportunity to be his authentic self, and that everyone can just appreciate who he is as an individual. That, hey, look, he's just someone who needs deviant sex parties during COVID lockdowns in order to blow off pent-up steam. You know, that's just him. That's just who he is as a person. You know, he needs to be rolling during, like, you know, the heat of a pandemic, to be rolling around naked with 10 friends. That's what he and his wife, you know, that's what they need. And he's able to be very authentic about himself, you know, be able to be his authentic self. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I love being my authentic self. So the way we do it in public health is we make it very uncomfortable to be unvaccinated. I don't expect the education to change your behavior. I'm just going to make it really hard for you to do your job.
Unbelievable. 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 How many people are impoverished because of this animal? This friggin' animal. I'm supposed to just be having a good time tonight on the show. I mean, how many people were humiliated, shamed, thrown out of places because of this animal, this deviant sicko who would never had no intention of abiding by his own regulations, and basically want to make life hell for people who were not him. How many people? He mentioned he and his wife. That's the only reason I take him at his word. I mean, taking his word on everything he's saying here. So
You can't get a job. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't go to school. It's like, okay, I'm just going to get vaccinated.
So was it technically like kind of forcing people?
Yeah, that's what you do. You force people by making it really uncomfortable.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. What an utter pins and needles. Needles and pins. It's crazy. It's crazy. I didn't see the second video, Dog Digger. There's a second video? There's a second video? Yeah. Crowder confronts in the second video. Okay, that I kind of want to see. Now I kind of want to see that. Any of you have a link to the second video you can share with me? He does. He does look like Anthony Weiner. Oh my God. He does. I hadn't even thought of that. That's true. I had volume on maximum and raised by 300%. He looks... There's no thumbnail on YouTube? Yes, there is. I don't know what you're talking about. There's a thumbnail on YouTube. Wow. Let me see. Point of view. Am I really going to have to find this myself? Let me check up. We didn't get to Kamala yet. I'm supposed to be like doing this thing in 10 minutes. You guys keep me here. Steven Crowder. I did search Crowder. I have Steven Crowder here. The first video is the same 2-minute and 17-second thing. All right, let me see if I don't go to him individually. I just go to Crowder. Oh my.
Being the architect of the policy,
so those things are
having sex parties and having dance parties while businesses are being shut down. And New York sees an unemployment that's twice the national average as a result of policy.
My wife and I had a party with like 10 people who everybody got vaccinated. Not vaccinated, everybody got tested and things like that.
There was over 12 people. When the gatherings at that point, you had to do in secret because no one else could gather 10 or more. If you could do it all over again, would you do it the same way? Or would you allow people their freedoms and not harm New York City like you did? Today, I introduced you to Dr. J. Varma.
Oh man, this is like a 12-minute video. I can't do this. I don't want to watch the same thing twice. Why is it doing this? Yeah, another 2-minute thing. This account doesn't exist, Jay Varma. Wow. Wow.
Official being the architect of the policy.
So those things are
having sex parties. Widely touted as the COVID architect in charge of New York City's COVID response. The right-hand man to Mayor Bill de Blasio, who in his own words convinced the mayor to do the mandate. In short, the man who brought down a city that had 2,800 small businesses closed, never to be reopened, a city of failing test scores after over 1 million students were kept out of classrooms for more than a year, and a city where tens of thousands of New Yorkers simply left. Today's Mug Club Undercover video saw Varma brag to our journalist about his medical background at places like the CDC, his newfound celebrity.
It's kind of a treat to hear you describe me as a celebrity.
His influence over the city. How he was able to force mass vaccination on people by making them, quote, uncomfortable through applying both financial and social pressure.
It's like, I'm just gonna get vaccinated.
And he even gleefully bragged that he was the man responsible for making it impossible for Kyrie Irving to play for the Nets. I wonder how Mr. Irving feels about that.
So I like to keep that stuff private.
Of course, Varma himself wasn't affected. While New Yorkers were allowed to gather indoors and many watched their loved ones die alone, he bragged about having drug-fueled sex parties. You can watch the whole piece by clicking the link in the description there. But something important here, in reviewing the footage, one thing stood out to me. Not once did he show anything resembling remorse.
Yeah, you can keep it. Yeah.
Never
Keep
once
it.
did this man, the trusted authority for New Yorkers and for many across the country, ever seem to have a remote interest in self-reflection or even the possibility.
It's really sad that I'm watching this and think to myself, thank God they didn't use a Jewish doctor for this. Thank God. Oh my God, thank God. Is that sad? Is it sad that I have to think that?
Of acknowledging the destruction that residents faced as the result of his policy. And if he's so sure about the righteousness of the policies he advocated, why didn't he follow them? Why did he demand submission through fear from the citizens of New York over something that he did not fear himself at all? That's the question that ate at me, and one that hasn't been answered by any of those caught violating their own guidelines since 2020,
freaky eyes.
from Gavin Newsom to Gretchen Whitmer to Nancy Pelosi. Now, we may never be able to get them to answer, but today, I was able to ask Dr. J. Varma.
Oh my gosh!
He hugged her. That's pretty funny. He hugged the woman and busted him.
No, we do some corporate events and stuff like that too. So he's one of those clients. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a problem with one of the. I'll talk
That's
to you
great.
later, but,
Oh my gosh, this is so.
He's busy talking to the honeypot, and Steven Crowder shows. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. It's so much better. I like this much better than the way James O'Keefe does it, where he shows up like a day later. No, you're in the middle of talking to the honeypot who's busting you, and she's going to pretend that this is a chance meeting with you. Oh, that's so good. The woman who's like, oh my gosh, it's the same woman who's asking these questions and getting him to spill his guts. It's so random that you happen to be here. What a weird. Oh my gosh, it's Steven, my friend, Steven Crowder.
Oh my gosh!
No.
No, we do some corporate events and stuff like that too. So he's one of those clients. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a problem with one of the. I'll talk to you about it later, but.
Oh my gosh, this is so random.
I know.
Like, what are the odds in New York City?
Well, I wasn't supposed to be here, but I just got into town here yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Liar.
Oh my gosh, how exciting! Well,
Are you guys?
we're just
I haven't been
hanging
here.
out. What are you doing right now?
Supposed to be working, but I don't think I'm
Okay.
going to.
Do you want to have?
Yeah,
do
we'll
you
grab a
want-
drink.
do you-
No, yeah, grab a
Okay,
drink.
cool.
Sure.
We're gonna have one drink and then get out of
Okay.
here. So,
Sure, yeah. Do you mind if I grab this chair?
Oh my gosh.
Does that work? Okay, I'll speak. Yeah.
So what do you work on then?
Well, I work in media.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things, big guilt complex. So we have to do these fundraisers every now and then. And it's like, save the koalas or turpid sloth or whatever the hell it is.
Saving the whale.
It's an environmental thing. Or not. I don't really know how much work.
How does this guy not know?
You hope the money goes to the right place.
Yeah,
after.
exactly. Yeah.
So how do you treat each other?
So when he was masking his disappointment, it was the disappointment that somebody who's younger and better looking than him was coming and sitting next to this honeypot who he's trying to pick up for his next party. And He doesn't even realize what's coming. Oh my God, what an idiot. What a moron.
He's really smart.
Yeah.
Why is that funny?
I don't know why.
I would assume.
That's a very interesting way. Like he's very smart.
Well, I mean, anyone. I just remember like hating whenever I took some sort of science class or whatever. So when I do meet anyone in healthcare, I'm like, okay, I already know that you're like.
But that's always the thing. Like you get attracted and you like are interested in people who have skills that you don't have. Right?
Yeah.
You see, he's trying to imply you're really attracted to me. He still hopes he has a chance. He's still trying to score. Oh my gosh, poor Dr. J. Varma. Yeah, God cannot drop enough terrible things on you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I hope he gets some flesh-eating bacteria. This slimy human being. Thank God he's not Jewish.
Yeah.
Like I know people who are like autistic and stuff. I'm always like, what do you do? Because I can't draw.
Well, I would be scary if you said he's in healthcare. He's really dumb.
Yeah, I know, right?
Last words for anesthesiology.
I'm so sorry. My boss is calling me. I will be right back.
I'll be right back and leave you here. Leave you here with Steven Crowder. No problem. We'll be waiting right here for you to get back.
There was a period during which there were no restrictions, no mandatory restrictions in New York. And I know this, I was always about there were no mandatory restrictions, and there was widespread COVID. And what happened? The entire city shut down because no cafe had a work.
My point is when there were shutdowns and restrictions, it seems like rules for thee, not for me, if you're having sex parties with people and hotels.
I think the idea with all of that was basically, again,
If you're having sex parties and dance parties with 200 people, while people there get punished if there are 10 or more at a gathering, or more than 40, and you have a dance party of 500 people, that seems like. My question is, you obviously doing that.
Isn't that true with everything though in life?
No, not everyone's having sex parties when they encourage lockdowns for other people.
No, but there's a million rules.
If you weren't afraid of it, why those policies? My point. If you're afraid of it, you wouldn't be having sex parties and you wouldn't be having dance parties with 200 people when everyone else is locked down.
No, because I'm saying that it's not.
And not checking for vaccinations.
It's not individual,
right?
No,
You know what?
Let him answer, Stephen.
What I'm trying to get at is the main issue is it's not about individual level risk. It's the same thing as driving.
But it is about you as a government official being the architect of the policy.
So those things are
having sex parties and having dance parties while businesses are being shut down. And New York sees an unemployment that's twice the national average as a result of policy.
During the time, I was going to these dance parties in the first year and a half of COVID.
You weren't having sex parties? And then dance parties?
No. My wife and I had a party with like 10 people who everybody got vaccinated. Not vaccinated, everybody got tested and things like that.
There was over 12 people when the gatherings at that point you had to do
in August of 2020, there were no vaccinations for him to be taking.
Because no one else could gather 10 or more. People were dying alone because they couldn't visit members in the hospital.
I think you're missing the bigger picture.
And when you had 200 at the dance party, that's 5 times the amount for everyone else living in this city.
I wasn't at any big. I don't know why you're talking about me specifically. I wasn't at any dance parties. I was
sure you did. Yeah, you did. You had a dance party of 200 plus people. You didn't check their vaccination status.
No, I went to.
Yeah.
Just like when? Oh, we're trying to move in.
No, you want me to bring it up?
So our parents are coming. This week, actually, like later this week. Like in the summer, I think the first time I went to a dance party was like the summer of 20.
You understand though how that's a tough sell to the American people, the business
owners. We had an outdoor event in July.
I get to spend more time
with the summer of COVID or something like that. I think we were at an outdoor event in the summer of 2020. I don't know how much. I wasn't at an event.
We were busy closing churches and synagogues, but we were, in outdoor worship. But yeah. Yeah, look, we had to have our parties.
Summer 2020.
So
it was an outdoor event.
You had sex parties.
You have a dossier on me?
Yeah.
Why? What is going on here?
Well, a lot of people have been affected by this policy, and my question is genuine. It's just level with me here.
More offensive.
You weren't afraid of it. Here, we got the mandate clip.
Why? What is going on here?
Oh, wait a second. I'm starting to see that there's a big fan here that's blowing. There's a big fan here that's blowing. And I'm finally noticing this floating dookie that's working its way towards the fan. It's floating. Why? Stop it floating to the fan. Don't flow into the fan. Don't no. Don't flow into the fan.
Get vaccinated. Sex parties. That you had sex parties where you rented a hotel. Everyone had a blast. The timeline is that is during the time when people were still being locked down. And then you had dance parties later on. This was in May or June of 2021, which still would have been 5 times beyond the amount that everyone else in the city was permitted.
Yeah, so when the war happened,
And
they split. Yeah, the summer of 2021.
And Kyrie Irving wasn't able to play basketball because he wouldn't be vaccinated. But you're at a dance party.
What's going on here? Are you trying to like?
Yeah, I can tell you. So I'm Steven Crowder, and I know everything that you have been talking about.
Okay.
And a lot of people have been negatively affected by your policies here in this country. And I just want you to level with me at this point. If you were living where you're not afraid of it,
we're gonna try to say,
I mean, right now you're giving me the story of it's only a certain amount of people who wear masks.
Yeah, this is a great catch.
Sex parties, well, that's happening. You're having dance parties.
I'm also telling stories to somebody.
And you also, and the teachers, you have kids. I mean, New York, the results have been abysmal. I mean, the decline in mathematics and education, the reading levels, it's twice the national.
But now I don't know.
At what point is there some accountability or culpability for people in this city? This city is not what it was. You're the architect of COVID policy.
I haven't seen this yet, obviously. My prediction is we don't see him laughing anymore during the rest of this video. That's just my prediction, is that his stupid guffawing laughter, we're not going to see that. We're not going to see much of that. It's probably not much more of that.
If you could change it. Would you still do it?
Yeah, when you live with someone, whether they're a roommate
And you were
Would you still do it?
I didn't realize that I was being set up for something.
I'm Steven Crowder, and this is going to be for the public to see. If you have anything that you want to say about it. I have that question. I have one more question. De Blasio, is he a weenie because he didn't enforce more authoritarian measures, or is he a weenie because he didn't stand up to the teachers union who irreparably harmed children?
But dad's getting what dad's going.
Is he a weenie because he did?
But is Heather coming back? Wait, is she coming back here soon so I can finish talking to her? He's like, I'm not liking this conversation nearly as much. I'm really not liking it as much.
Did you do more to lock people down while you were living high on the hog? Or is he a weenie because he didn't have the spine to stand up to the teachers union, who I think we would both agree?
My dad was saying oh, you read this news article?
Corrupt, and didn't do what was in the best interest of the kids, and harmed a generation of students.
He's like, oh, it's very logical. And then my mom's like, on the more emotional side,
I wanted kids in school. The mayor wanted kids in school, but the teachers union didn't. The teachers union wanted all the teachers to stay home with Zoom so they'd be safe, even though it means the kids get hurt. So the mayor was screwed. And then he said he has to work for them for votes.
I'm not gonna be like, that's the surest way to ensure you'll never get.
You know how tough that is for a parent to take?
Yeah. It's the long game, like you're saying.
Dude.
Do you have children in school?
It's the same thing. In 5 years, it won't really matter what.
How do you think Kyrie Irving's going to react?
Exactly.
And he wasn't allowed to play basketball. And the people who enacted that policy were having orgies, effectively.
This is a lot of weight too.
I'm not sure there's anything that I'm going to say that you would report accurately, so I'm not sure.
These are your quotes.
Yeah, I'm also babbling in what I thought is a date with somebody. And my wife and I have an open relationship. That is not something I'm afraid to talk about.
No, I don't.
No one cares if you have an open relationship. The point is you're having that open relationship while you're telling people they can't interact with any other humans.
I'm not judging your sexual choices.
I have no qualms. You can talk about my wife. You can talk about me.
I'm not.
I'm
judging the violating of policies that you enacted that decimated businesses and families while having sex parties.
There was one that I can remember.
And dance parties.
I went to a party
while other people, if they would have done so, if they didn't have the luxury of government protection,
there were lots of
could have been
people.
arrested.
In the summer of 2021, things were open.
The guidelines were 10 people or less, not indoor gatherings.
Yeah, then maybe. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. Actually, by the way,
I had to be kind of sneaky about it. Rented a hotel because hotels didn't want people gathering there, in line with the policy that was your architecture.
No, that's
because I was running the entire COVID response in the city.
We can talk about the dance event, though. By the way, I wasn't actually working for for the city anymore at that time. I actually officially ended my responsibility. I officially did my break in August 30th. I'm sorry, April 30th of 2021.
Yeah.
And I was, at that time, I was purely consulting.
So just the remnants of your policy that you were violating.
Yeah, I agree. He's telling him to speak more.
Yeah, but you believe in those policies. You encourage those policies. You encourage more aggressive policies.
But there was not a gathering restriction in December 2021, was there?
Yeah, it was 40 people or less.
Is there really?
Yeah.
I thought less indoor dining.
And you know what? I don't blame you. It was really hard. It was really hard to keep track of that, wasn't it? At that point in time.
Well, I wasn't but in summer of 2021, were there still restrictions on?
When you were just a citizen at that point, and you have to step past the landmines laid by people like you who are now in your position.
I don't think there were restrictions on indoor gatherings, were there? I don't remember, actually, honestly. So I have to go back and look. But no, I wasn't a city employee at that time.
What about pressure, using mandates to pressure people and harass people? It's just to make them feel uncomfortable enough that they'll do what you want them to do. Is that how government serves their people in New York City?
I think
I don't even know what that is.
The way government works in general is I was using the speed limit example, and you sort of skip by that. You know, we actually that's a reasonable analogy to how policies are set by government, right? We know there's a certain expectation, unfortunately, that not everybody's going to comply with the rules of law. Like, for example, right here, there's seats, there's a law.
Sure.
And so the main reason you set rules in government is so that you change, again,
to ruin people's lives.
Like people on the East Coast.
If you think that that's ruining people's lives.
With vaccines, it's like, oh, you can't get a job, you can't go to a restaurant, you can't go to school. It's like, I'm just going to get vaccinated.
No,
that sounds like destroying someone's life to me.
It isn't destroying people's lives; it's actually saving their lives.
Oh, okay. So it worked like a charm in New York, even though you had a higher death rate than the average across the nation.
No, if you
higher than Dallas, Miami.
Are you kidding me? You don't know the numbers, man. Look at all the data on this. All the numbers. All the studies that are done on this. Have you actually looked at the epidemiologic data? I think we're done.
So the deaths in New York City actually were about 46,000.
Thank you very much.
558 per 100,000 residents. Miami was 13, so 494. Dallas
look at the data
was 284 per 100,000. So you had twice the rate.
Look at the data on after vaccines became available on the death rate. And all the studies that have been done, if you actually want to look at the data on the excess mortality, it is abundantly clear everywhere.
Is it really? What is abundantly clear is can't get a job, can't go to school, can't go to a restaurant. This, of course, extends to running a business. I'll get a vaccine.
Example. Why? I don't understand how you don't understand the Omicron example.
I don't understand why you don't understand the freedom example. While you're having gay sex parties and people are losing their livelihoods and people are losing their ability to play professional sports, or, by the way, to be a manager at a local company, because you decide that they should be uncomfortable and feel harassed so that they get a vaccine.
It's the same reason we have regulations on everything.
To harass the American citizens?
No, the people in this restaurant, they have to have rules to keep track of how clean they are. Do you want all those rules?
How clean are sex parties while you're on lockdown? How clean are sex parties when you're on lockdown? Because most Americans, I would say, yeah, thanks. I got the bill, so you don't have to worry about it if that's the case.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I'm a gentleman that way. I really was hoping you'd level with me, man. It's very clear you weren't afraid of it, and it was rules for other people.
You're not actually interested in listening to things that I actually talked about. I tried to give an example of that Omicron. You wanted a question about when things change and when they don't change. When things, what happens when you have diseases when there are restrictions.
If you could do it all over again, would you do it the same way? Or would you allow people their freedoms and not harm New York City like you did? Looking back, I think that everybody who worked in public health and healthcare during COVID was saving lives. Really? By harassing them and making them uncomfortable.
Our house now is kind of in the
Okay, I'm muted. Fine. I'm way behind. I got it. I muted myself when I was coughing before. I didn't even get to start my story yet. The main story that we're here for. Today, while I was busy streaming to you very, very fine people, I was missing out what was happening in X, where apparently, what was trending was indeed Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris trending today. Why was this trending? You might be saying, how did this start trending today? What happened? You probably want to know the story, and I'm here to break it down for you. Hit number one trending position on X Thursday as people criticize the scam of the Kamala Harris campaign. Kamala. This is what it was. This is the video.
Kamala Harris. After much self-reflection, I have come to the realization that there is one thing very Indian about you, and that is that you became the Democratic nominee without a single vote. Bitch, you pulled the biggest scam of all time. No Indian I know, from the call centers to email phishing, no Indian I know has scammed 250 million people. Not bad, Kamala. That's pretty good numbers. If you manage to actually win the election, you will have pulled off the biggest Indian scam of all time. From here on out, your new name is not Kamalto, actually. It is now Skamala. Kamala Harris. Don't act like us. Don't act like us. Don't act like us.
So it's trending everywhere. Kamala Harris trending number one on X. I can't believe it. Others on X chimed in on the scam of Harris campaign. Harris entered the race in July after Biden bowed out. Pressure from Democrats following June's disastrous debate against Trump. Harris did not receive a single vote during the primaries, named the Democratic candidate in August ahead of the DNC. Nomination was secured with a virtual roll call, and the convention, an event set aside to nominate candidates, was reframed as an event to celebrate Harris. Not one person voted for Kamala Harris, wrote Human Events Daily host Jack Posobiec, and now she's Democratic nominee. Biggest scam in American history. Kamala Harris is afraid of the press. Local TV news interviews, 1. National print publications, 1. National TV interviews, 1. Press conferences, 0. Unbelievable. Look how many Trump and Vance have done. Between them, they had 4, 1, and 2. A total of 7 times that anyone's been able to hear them. Compare that to 31, 55, 57, 60, 72 for Vance and Trump. Unbelievable. And then there's this meme here as well. Same part. It says Trump line democracy doesn't install a presidential candidate. Yeah, there you go. Little V for Vendetta guy. Do you think that Skamala is gonna become like her new nickname? Do you think that that's gonna take off? I'm not sure. Yeah, that guy was funny. That guy was really funny. He was really good. All right, thank you, by the way, for sharing this with me, Bulldozer, for sharing with me the link to Crowder. So, all right. It's time for me to get over and start doing my locals thing. On locals, I will be breaking down the P-Diddy indictment, all his freak-offs, and the crazy shenanigans that he got into. A very colorful indictment that, as I pointed out in the beginning of this stream, I've color coded the way a law student would. So I can basically teach you how to break down. I'm not going to be spending a lot of time on the teaching you, but I'll basically be showing you how, like, when you break something down, you can identify different portions of it once you sort of establish for yourself a color code. This is a color code I chose. So, and I'll break down for you why I color coded the way I did. But, and you're going to see that this indictment is crazy. Sean Puffy Combs is purportedly, allegedly, a friggin' lunatic who, like I said earlier, if 10% of what they say about him is true, my God, this guy needs to be locked away forever. And I'm pretty confident he will be. I'm pretty confident that he's not getting out anytime soon. Anyway, that's over on Locals. GoodLawgic.locals.com. The link is pinned in the chat. It's pinned at the top of the chat, pinned in the description. It's pinned everywhere. I pinned it everywhere except your own forehead or mine. It's not. I'm not big on pinning on foreheads. Pinning on foreheads is not a good strategy. Tomorrow morning, I will be live streaming, continuing the evidentiary hearing that starts at 10 a.m. Links are not created yet. You'll find that over at goodlogic.locals.com. I urge you to join me over there, and I will see you there very shortly. I'm supposed to be there. I'm going to just set up a link. I should start that stream on Locals with the P-Diddy stuff in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So hit the link, and I'll see you on over there. I thank you so much. If you can't make it over there, I understand, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Till then, have a good night, and as always, Godspeed.